Hello everybody, so today's video is entitled LifeMD Unwarranted Crash because I'm buying the dip A and then B, I really believe it's an unwarranted crash. You can see of course HIMS dropped in unison with LifeMD. HIMS dropped 25%, LifeMD dropped 27% on Friday, and LifeMD essentially erased all of its gains for the year. It had gained 58% for a full year to date. It essentially erased it entirely. Market set back to zero, right? Only up 4% year to date. HIMS did not erase the gains. HIMS is still up nearly 100% for the year. So I really think that LifeMD got punished rather unfairly because for LifeMD, really the GLP-1 business, well, that was, a medium share of the business, but it's not the whole business. It's not the whole thing. And you know why LifeMD dropped, of course. It dropped because of the FDA drug shortages for semaglutide being considered not in shortage or resolved. And of course, because it's considered resolved, people are thinking that LifeMD is going to have a hard time selling the compounded version of semaglutide. But that's the thing. LifeMD has always sold a lot of branded GLP-1s, branded versions of a GLP-1. Also, we learned on Friday, so 2 hours after that announcement, we learned that the FDA would not take action against compounders until, for a while, or at least until the other lawsuit is resolved. So they will not be taking action against compounders. That's what I was thinking would happen to HIMS. So that's what happens again. So again, this is a little bit in limbo, but right now we're probably going to have a FDA that even though it's not in shortage, they're not going to take action just yet against compounders of GLP-1. And don't forget too, compounding of a GLP-1 is still allowed for specific patient requirements. If a patient requires a specific customization, it is allowed to compound the drug for that patient, but you just have to document it and you just have to prove it. So even if in the future, in a year or two from now, they cannot sell compounded version of GLP-1s at all whatsoever, a company like LifeMD, a company like HIMS will still be able in certain instances to compound the medication for a patient that has specific needs, specific concerns about certain side effects and things like that. But moving away from GLP-1, LifeMD really is a thesis that's much bigger than just GLP-1s. LifeMD doesn't need the GLP-1s. And to explain the thesis of LifeMD, the way I call LifeMD is a baby HIMS. That's how I've always called it. But the core thesis is maybe to be the Netflix of doctors or something like that, because their most popular plan, which is one office visit per month for $39 a month, that's the total care plan, free visit every month. People pay $39 a month and they get a free doctor visit every month. But you can see they're even more like the unlimited internet plan. Well, they have an unlimited doctor plan. In their concierge care plan for $99 a month, you get unlimited office doctor visits. And so for people who often go to the doctor, this is actually a huge value. This is actually a very good value for people who often go to the doctor. For people who go sometimes to the doctor, like let's say you go to the doctor, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a year, it may be worth it to take the total care plan where you get one free visit every month. Otherwise you have flex care where it's $105 a visit because you get 25% off your first visit. Otherwise, $139. That's still cheaper than a regular office visit. A regular office visit as a doctor it's like just under $200 usually. Also, why do I call LifeMD a baby HIMS? Because they are launching their pharmacy. As you can see, their digital pharmacy, their warehouse. They have their warehouse in Pennsylvania from which they ship pharmacy. It's licensed in 33 states, so they can sell mail order pharmacy. They can sell prescriptions in 33 states, and they're expanding that. And so that's why I call it, it might be the third player in the digital pharmacy space. If HIMS, in the next era that we're entering where pharmacies are becoming fully digital, if HIMS takes the spot of an online CVS, If Amazon takes the spot of an online Walgreens, could LifeMD be an online Rite Aid? Well, I think they went bankrupt, by the way, a year ago or something like that. But, that was the third player. You don't need to be it's better if you're number one, but this stock is so cheap that it could be one of the online pharmacies available out there without necessarily being number one. Of course, they're smaller than Hims right now, but the fact that they're launching their pharmacy in addition to their doctor plans, their monthly subscription to doctors, well, they have a captive business, right? Because the doctor prescribes something, and the doctor may say, well, we have an online pharmacy here at LifeMD. Why don't I transfer your medication? Why don't I send your medication to our own in-house pharmacy, and then you keep the business. You get to have a business at the pharmacy, and you have the business with the doctor. That's the strategy of LifeMD. Also, why do I call LifeMD a baby Hims? Why do I call it a baby Hims? Well, that's because of RexMD. They have RexMD, Rex, the king in Latin. King in Latin is what Rex means. And you can see they have their baby Hims going on. They got their little marketing going on. They have a crowd like a king. And, it's all about the real medications. If you listen to the conference call, they mostly sell ED pills. It's very interesting to note when you go on the websites, 95% off. You get your generic ED treatments, and they sell branded or non-branded ED pills. Remember, LifeMD tries to use your insurance to pay for your medications. I'll get to that when I get to GLP-1s in a second. But, it's a small business. But if you look at the last call, they mentioned they sell $70 million of ED pills. $70 million at 80% gross margins. So $70 million at 80% gross margin, that's pretty darn impressive. These ED pills, they are still a blockbuster drug. They've still been going strong ever since the FDA approval in 1989. And so what does that tell us about GLP-1? So will GLP-1s actually be blockbusters? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road, will the GLP-1s still be blockbusters? Well, maybe they will. And so moving back to the GLP business, when it comes to the GLP-1s business, according to the Q3 call, that's why I call GLP a medium business for LifeMD. They mentioned in the Q3 call that they have 75,000 subscribers on their GLP program right now. It's quite tremendous, assuming each subscriber pays on average $100, because that promotion they have right now for $75 a month, that's a temporary promotion. So let's assume these 75,000 subscribers that they have for GLP-1s, let's assume they pay on average $100. That's $75 million a year run rate on GLP-1s alone. Again, for a business whose market cap is only 220 million as a market cap. So 220 million market cap. You have 75 million in GLP-1s. You have 70 million in ED pills, and you have all of the rest of the business. So again, that's very impressive, the numbers that they're putting out for such a small business. And as far as the GLP-1s are concerned, LifeMD always had a different strategy. They accept insurance for your prescriptions. And if you listen to the call, the CEO says on the call, it's all about trying to see which prescription you qualify for with your insurance. And they sell mostly branded medication. You can get branded Zepbound, branded Ozempic, branded Wegovy, branded Saxenda, that's the liraglutide, and they also have a compounded semaglutide as well, but that's fairly recent. They've been focusing a lot on branded medication, and if they sell branded medication, they may be better off, because this is a big distinction of LifeMD. LifeMD sells branded GLP-1s and finds a way for your insurance to cover it. You can read this excerpt in the call here. They find a way for your insurance to cover it. So most insurance companies don't cover GLP-1s, of course, and maybe they will in the future, but it's unlikely. As RFK said, if we cover GLP-1s for Medicare, it will be something like $3 trillion or something like that. So it's unlikely that the insurance companies will cover GLP-1s for weight loss, or at least they'll try to fight it. But insurance companies cover GLP-1s for other conditions. And since LifeMD is a holistic doctor solution, they may find a way for you to qualify for a GLP-1 for another condition that you have. For example, if you have pre-diabetes or diabetes, they may get you covered for a GLP-1 that's indicated for diabetes, and you get access to that GLP-1. But GLP-1s also have, been intimated to have effect on a lot of aspects. They're drugs that have been described by RFK, but other people as miraculous. And if you look, they may have effect on Alzheimer's, on fatty liver disease, on alcohol cessation, on impulsive shopping, on other psychological disorders, on polycystic ovary syndrome, on sleep apnea, which is big in the 65 plus category. So there's many indications other than being overweight that you may have that qualify you for GLP-1. And that's the difference of LifeMD. They try to get you to qualify for a GLP-1 via another one of your ailments and not necessarily via you being just overweight. And you also intuitively understand that you have a correlation between being overweight and being diabetic or pre-diabetic. And so if someone has good insurance, if they may qualify for GLP-1 via the diabetes route. So that's the differentiation of LifeMD compared to HIMSS, for example, which HIMSS is entirely out of pocket, keeping insurance entirely out of the loop, and HIMSS is selling entirely compounded versions of the drug. They're not trying to sell the branded versions of the GLP-1s. And I will conclude by saying, as you already know from my Patreon on Friday, I bought a bunch, but I'm buying the dip on LifeMD. I think right now at $5. I mean, this stock was trading almost $8, 4 days ago. I think that 25% drop yesterday was entirely unwarranted, especially when LifeMD is a company that is working so hard to sell the branded medication and get insurance to cover it, especially when LifeMD has a successful side venture in RexMD, which is kind of a HIMSS copycat, where they sell ED drugs and they sell 70 million worth of that stuff. So that's pretty impressive, especially when LifeMD has an innovation in being the Netflix of doctors, a monthly prescriptions to doctors, especially when LifeMD has launched pharmacy recently. I don't think that drop is warranted. And I'll conclude by looking at the valuation. You can see HIMSS dropped back to under 0.2. So that's good for HIMSS, because at a 0.25, 0.27, it was getting expensive. But if I look at LifeMD, there's a tale of two LifeMDs. You have LifeMDs with WorkSimpli, and you have LifeMD without WorkSimpli. And the LifeMD that we see on all of the websites is the LifeMD with WorkSimpli. And WorkSimpli is an unrelated SaaS company that sells business services, online tools for I think it's HR or something like that. But they sell online tools, an unrelated SaaS business, and it's a flattish business that is valued at about $53 million, and that's WorkSimpli. Here I meant WorkSimpli. So if LifeMD succeeds in selling WorkSimpli, they will not only succeed at getting rid of part of a business that is not really growing, but they will also succeed at removing some of that value from their enterprise value. So in other words, the better way to look at LifeMD is to look at LifeMD assuming that they have sold WorkSimpli, and this is what my two columns show. My two rows show here. The first one is LifeMD with WorkSimpli, assuming that LifeMD doesn't sell WorkSimpli, and you can see the forward revenue growth for LifeMD, assuming they don't sell WorkSimpli, you're at 29% forward revenue growth. It's good, it's very good, but it's not as exciting as if you remove LifeMD. If you remove WorkSimpli, you have LifeMD where it will be growing at 53%. So the medical part of LifeMD grows the fastest, and WorkSimpli is becoming more and more irrelevant to the company. And if you look at the valuation, enterprise value over gross profit over revenue growth, this asks the question, how much am I paying for that growth? How much am I paying for the growth, right? You get to a 0.02 if you assume that LifeMD is going to be successful at selling WorkSimpli at some point. And I assume they will be successful at selling WorkSimpli at some point. So really, I think the better way to look at the valuation that one is paying for LifeMD, that's a 0.02. So this is a stock that is dirt cheap. It's undervalued. It could stay undervalued for many more years. Sometimes the market can remain undervalued longer. The quote is longer than you can stay solvent. But if you don't buy on margin, it's irrelevant. But that's why I'm willing to wait a long time, and this is a stock that I'm buying straight equity, because it's a stock that is so inexpensive. It's only $5 a share. I mean, from that standpoint, and it's a cheap stock. It's a cheap stock. Only 200 million of market cap. 200 million of market cap in one of the hottest spaces. Which is remote medicine, digital doctors, and they are a mini HIMS. They remain the mini HIMS. I like LifeMD very much as not a core position, but as a kind of a side position, more of a speculative buy. But I like it very much for my portfolio and my portfolio alone. So this was not financial advice, not investment advice. Sorry about that. I am still sick. But anyway, this was just entertainment. I hope you're entertained. Please subscribe, follow me on X, follow me on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.